The answer, listener, is I've seen them once or twice, and they were very interesting fights, and I enjoyed them. Let me tell you, listen, when I was young, the problem was I was a huge boxing fan, but I got most of my boxing through magazines, through reading. Why? Because there's no way to watch boxing, right? Like that wasn't something that was on network television except maybe once a month if you were really lucky. And they didn't show the undercard, they just showed the one big fight. And so it was catch as catch can, if you will. Now we run into a different problem. There are so many fights on, between MMA and Muay Thai and Glory and Jiu-Jitsu and everything that there's no way you can watch everything. I'll be honest with you, I have a hard time watching all the UFCs. So there's no space in my life for even more. But the ironic part of all this is I remember when UFC was breaking out, late 2000s. I had just gotten out of jail. And I joined a boxing gym. I didn't join the gym. I actually was working at the gym. It was my fake job, if you will, as I continued the criminal lifestyle that I was in. And the boxing guys that owned the gym would make fun of MMA. MMA, they'd say, and they'd laugh at it. Little did they know that MMA was actually going to raise boxing's profile so high that there'd be so much more money in combat sports in general that we would all benefit from it. So that's awesome that today there's a plethora. There is too much, right? Like, what do I always say? Like, how many guys came out and was like, I'm an MMA trainer? Like, guys that had no combat experience, it didn't make a difference or very little or whatever. Suddenly, like, the whole world is on fire with MMA. I even worked when I got out of jail the second time and I have a new lifestyle, I worked at a martial arts gym. They tried to make it like a kickboxing type gym based around MMA with no discipline and very interesting. I guess they don't really understand what kids need or want. But listen, what is my point? My point is, listener, I just don't have time to watch that too. Now, listen, I was a kickboxer, right? But kickboxing has never made it over the top. Even with its popularity at K1 at the turn of the century, like it was barely hanging on and then it dropped down from that. Now, Muay Thai, listen, the clinch is not crowd friendly, right? The elbows, the knees, the subtleties that are going on in that clinch game, which I'm not an expert of by any means, it's not fun to fans. They look at it and they're like, what are these guys holding? Yeah, holding's illegal in boxing. The ref always breaks it up. Kickboxing, listen, I think sometimes, like MMA is a lot more exciting than kickboxing. I don't know why, because a lot of MMA bouts turn into D-level kickboxing, as Dan Black like to say. But the reality is what works and what doesn't. So no, listener, I don't watch them as much as I'd like. I wish I could, but listen, at least we don't have the problem of not enough fights anymore. Everybody, read my book, Warrior of the